We're
I
out
sense
here.
some sarcasm.
Yes, we're out here in my wife's hometown. Unfortunately, last week her father passed away, so we're out here for the funeral tomorrow, and so we're with family, and it's good, and everybody's at peace and enjoying each other's company right now. So it's high spirits. We know where he ended his life here, and we know that he began his life in heaven, and I'm super stoked for him. Kind of jealous, kind of jealous that he gets to hang with Jesus right now. But
Yes.
that's what you get to do.
Man, we were so bummed to hear that, man.
Yeah, for sure.
But
you know what? Hey, he was an incredible prayer warrior, incredible man of the Lord, just awesome. So, and it looks like Ryan is joining us from vacation.
No way. What's up, Ryan? Welcome.
Is it coming through?
Yes, sir.
I just heard you guys talking about a passing, so I hate to be like interjecting a cornhole tournament in that, but that's what I'm at. So that's what you're seeing in the background there.
My father-in-law.
But you know what? This is what we're going to be doing in heaven. If you didn't know, you're going to be playing cornhole with your church. So I'm hosting a tournament tonight, and I told them, please let me just go get away for half an hour so I can hang with these guys. So nice to meet you.
Thanks so much for joining us and for hosting us on your page all these times. It's amazing.
Yeah, awesome. Well, I was just listening to your videos, watching them, soaking in the music, and feeling like, wow, this music is a real step forward. I love it. I love the vibe, the tone. It's very professional, very spirit-led, and it's a great thing you got going. So we're glad to partner with you. And Stephen and I have a long history, a little friendship there going. So I appreciate that. And yeah, it's really great.
Awesome. Daniel, I know we'll probably have to kick it off here on Facebook here shortly. If you want to, do you want to kick that off right away tonight, or do you want to wait for the countdown on YouTube?
Let's just check YouTube real quick and see if that's still counting down or not.
You bet. While he's looking into that, I get to tell the story of how I actually met Ryan. I was a young publisher at the time. This was about, 7 years ago. And it was back when Worship Leader Magazine was doing their conferences in like 4 or 5 different places in a year rather than just one in Nashville. They were doing their Worship Leader conferences all over in different regions. And we had just gotten back from Winthrop, Washington, doing a worship retreat. We jumped in a van and drove all the way out to Dallas with Corey Voss and with Lauren Daigle in a van. And we stayed the night.
And no one knew Lauren Daigle back in the day.
Nobody knew what was coming their way.
No.
And
or Corey Voss.
We stayed at Jenny Riddle's house when she was living in McKinney, Texas. And we get to the Worship Leader conference, and man, it was like one of those divine moments where the head of Worship Leader Magazine at the time, he allowed us to put Lauren on stage for one song. She gets up, does "Come Alive, Dry Bones" with Michael Farron.
I remember it.
Just practically, it's like heaven leaned down to listen to Lauren at that point, and it just like took everybody's breath away, including me. I was like, I knew the anointing, I knew the gifting, but man alive, like she was just going for it, and it was just incredible. And then Ryan and I meet the next morning for breakfast because we had texted each other that night. And you were like, hey, I got time before the conference tomorrow. You want to meet for breakfast? I was like, absolutely, I would love to meet you. And so it was you and me, and I don't remember if I think Corey Voss might have come to that. I think I let Lauren sleep in, and we just planned, and dreamt a little bit about how we could release some of these songs to the global church and partner with you guys. And I'll tell you, like, that partnering with PraiseCharts, I've always been grateful for you, Ryan, because you see what the local church is doing, you see what the regional church is doing, and you take a chance on a lot of independents that are putting the weight of their lives on God. And you didn't just take a chance on Lauren, you took a chance on me. And just so grateful for that. And that audience, the PraiseCharts audience, is who built Lauren Daigle up and supported her before she ever went to radio, so that when she went to radio, they were all the people dialing in, going, play it again, play it again.
Yeah, so great. And Stephen, like, since 20 years ago, I feel like you and I have grown to become the same person, because, like, look at you and me. Both got beards, both got glasses. It's like I'm looking in the mirror. So same heart. That's how it's looking on my screen. Anyways, I don't know about yours.
I'm growing up in your footsteps, you guys.
Yeah. You got to find yourself some glasses and a thicker beard there, buddy. So that's what you got to do.
But they're not the right frames. Dang it.
That's right. Well, that's all right. There's only room for two of us like that on this show.
Fantastic.
So, but I just was going to say, Stephen, that we talk in PraiseCharts lots about looking for the PraiseCharts. We call it the PraiseCharts DNA. Like, people who stick around in our team and in our network, and you're definitely sharing that. It's just like that natural chemistry of I don't know. I'm always looking for people who aren't too full of themselves, who are really great but not too full of themselves. And even Lauren was like that. She had no idea that she, was like the giant that she was back in the day, and carried that kind of spirit. So I hope that what you guys have going right now is some of that we'll be looking back in 20 years going, remember when we had that little Instagram live? And so, and even if it doesn't go that big, it's like we're doing something authentic and doing our best. And I mean, obviously I can tell lots of people are listening on Spotify. I've seen some of those stream numbers are looking great. So very promising.
Awesome. That's cool.
God of power, full of mercy, slow to anger, you're a mystery. Who is like you, befriending enemies? Oh, what favor, how did grace find me? It's your your goodness.
So there you go.
That's fantastic.
Crazy.
I think we just finished the song on Facebook Live, so we can now jump
beautiful.
over to the live stream on Facebook. And Daniel, you let me know when you hit that button.
All right. I just shared the wrong screen here. Let me just hit the right one.
Cool. Oh, that's trippy. That's really cool.
There we go.
All right.
And we're back.
Cool. So
Beautiful.
obviously this song was written at a 3-day songwriting intensive in Bozeman at the beginning of 2021. It was February of 2021. And this was written in really just 2.5 days worth of time. There were some brand new songwriters there. There were some experienced songwriters. We brought Jeremiah Jones, who wrote What a Savior, up, that we've heard from on past Instagram lives. What a treasure he is. But, you know, we've been talking about how powerful of a time we had in those 2.5 days of writing, and then releasing those songs into the public immediately after they're written, right? Even with needing rewrites and little tweaks here and there, we actually didn't change much from the originals. So Daniel, walk us back to that room for a second. And what was there a scripture that you were working off of? What was the idea that hit the room?
Yeah, so the first kind of fun fact about this song was we'd sort of done a version of drawing straws, or like the way that you'd pick teams for kickball, right? So we lined up everyone who identified themselves as a lyricist primarily on one side of the room, and everyone else who identified mainly as a melody person on the other side of the room.
Cool.
And we just numbered them off. I think it was Scott Moore who numbered everyone off 1 through 4, or how many rooms we had? Probably like more like 1 through 15, because we had like 15 writing rooms.
Wow.
And so then, you know, so that's how God put the 4 of us together for this co-write. It was really cool. What kind of 2 things that kicked off this song was, first, Stephen had a prompt for us that session, which was like, try to write something that you could imagine yourself singing for eternity. You know, a timeless truth that you'd never get sick of singing. And so I would say the bridge of this song really captures that really well. That was kind of where we went. And then the context of the verse and the chorus really came from one of our co-writers, Sarah Sheets, sharing a lot of her personal life stories and struggles, and just like how much pain that she had walked through in the past few years, and yet how faithful God had been, and his kindness and his goodness throughout all of that. And verse 2 kind of finds its way there as well, in the way that God refines us. It's in his mercy that he doesn't let us just stay how we are, but he refines us. And so sometimes it hurts, but it hurts so good, you know. So that was kind of we could all relate to that in the room, and dove in writing that.
Yeah.
Can I just ask, did the video come then like weeks after, or is that a product of after the conference? How did that come together?
It was after the conference.
Yeah.
You know, I always wonder that too about people's video projects.
So we took some time. We did the recording then that November, around Thanksgiving time, and then that January. So this last January, we got together and we did it all over again, in the same church, same building that we wrote everything in. And then after we got done, literally like 10 days later, we did the next songwriting intensive right after that, to come out of that spirit and just keep flowing into the next one.
I'm just kind of interested in like what it felt like when you were recording that video. Obviously, that's the thing we've all just seen and experienced, and a lot of people are going to experience this song through the visual. That's really an important medium for this age. But I don't know, how do you get past the mechanicalness of like, okay, time to press record, everybody, you know, suddenly feel that sense of authentic connection with God? And I mean, you seem to convey that so well in the video. Could you take me into what that experience is like behind the scenes? I love behind the scenes stuff. So.
I think some of it, and Daniel can speak to this too, but like from my perspective, it was a year of singing these songs in the church.
Yeah.
And being in the trenches with these people, and actually singing from a place of authentic testimony, because there's authentic testimony that was written, but then there's like the community aspect of testimony too, right?
Yeah.
It's like I have an individual testimony and I'll sing about it until somebody else can overcome. Now we share a testimony and we become unified in our expression of worship.
Yeah.
And to me, it was a year of building up testimonies that all started to link together that made it a lot easier to forget the cameras were there,
Yeah.
you know, and to do it from a place of just, hey, this is just another time where we get to get together and brag on God, you know,
Yeah.
together, of what he's done, not just individually, but now what he's done to the, you know, in the community. Yeah. And I think the other part of it was that you're seeing night 2, but we actually did an entire night before, because we had some people from out of town, like me. I was flying in, didn't get to rehearse with them, and so we recorded all of the first night, but we never used any of the first night. The first night was getting all the nerves out, get past the cameras, just worship with God, you know. So I think on the technical side, we had a whole night where, I mean, I texted this to you earlier. Sean James, who used to be at Elevation, he was the one that did this. He's like a young 20-something guy that is doing really high-level worship videos. And he caught the vision of this thing and was like, I'm in. And he cut his price in half for us. I mean, like, it was just like God just was really working on all of us to just make sure that this was important and got out. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things that he did was, this is miraculous to me, he used all volunteers on cameras to shoot that. And if you know, I mean, Ryan, you know, like, we try to get some people who have done this professionally on every camera, because, you know, like, they're framing it right, they're getting it focused, they're pulling shots and using movement. This is him in everybody's ears just going, hey, focus on whoever's leading, or focus on the drummer for a second. He's having a moment with God. And there were moments in that first night and in that second night where a camera person just like walks away from their camera and just starts worshiping. Because we just said, hey, look, we have 9 camera people in the room. We have a couple of other cameras that are just static. If you have to stop and worship, stop and worship. Because
that's great.
Because that's better than trying to communicate the right shot. It's better that you stop, you have a moment with Jesus, and then you come back, you know? Daniel can talk to the awkwardness of the cameras in his face, because that's the first time he's done that.
Tell me your experience.
Yeah, I know for sure going into it, I had my doubts. I was like, how is this going to work? Like, I had actually envisioned that we would have, like, we'd be on a stage and we'd have a room full of few hundred people, and it would just be a concert front to back. And I had done one thing like that with someone named Vanessa Bisepo. She's a Latina worship leader. And anyways, so we did 2 nights in a row for that as well. And the second night was only the night with an audience. But anyways, I still had my doubts about this. And I think the secret sauce was, first of all, starting it off, Stephen told everyone who was present, nobody tried to perform for the sake of performance, you know, like, we're not trying to make this something that it's not, you know, and people are going to see through that so easily on the video. So that kind of helped everyone go, oh yeah, you know, if you wouldn't do it at church on Sunday, don't do it here.
Right.
Basically.
Yeah.
And then I think the other secret sauce was just simply, we had, just the people in the room were just authentic worshipers. We're all, I believe we're all people who worship at home, you know, whether there's people in the room or not, and it just poured out, and it was moving. It was really moving.
And we were battling, you know, originally we were going to have the room filled with people from the community and worshiping with us, but because of COVID regulations at the time, we could only have so many people in the room. That's
Right.
why you see us spread out a little bit. That's why you see
Yeah.
not as many people in the room. It's not that we didn't want to worship with the entire community, because we had 500 some people show up to the night of worship when we did this the first time. And so like we were ready to go, but at the same time we were like, okay, we want to honor what the state had put in place. So so we spread out and we just worshiped. And honestly, I looking back, I really love that. Even in the future, I would do it, just us first, and then do it in a room of everybody, because just connecting with each other, the people who were in the trenches writing the songs with each other, the
Yeah.
people who were planting the seed in the community and fighting for it to grow and watering it and like watching the heat scorch it, and like just like the people who toiled and sweat and teared up over this, we got to see so many breakthroughs through the year that this became really a celebration of worship, which is so much more fun than just recording an album or recording videos. It's just an expression of how God's hand was moving at the time.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Ryan,
I'm kind of interested in how, I'm sorry, I'll just
go.
asking like how you have had this vision of the Worship Coalition, and how you feel like the unique aspects of what the Worship Coalition, how is that sort of bubbling to the surface? Do you have a couple, maybe from each of you, just like one or two thoughts of something that is distinctive about the Worship Coalition that feels like it's bubbling through these expressions? You got something for that?
Yeah. Maybe Daniel should speak to this first.
Yeah.
So that
Just
I don't
one,
taint the answer.
just one, because then we'll have time for other things. One or two, whatever.
One aspect of the kind of unique side of Worship Coalition that helps make this a reality. I would say, again, the secret sauce of Stephen's approach to songwriting and Christian worship in general is that it's not about the song, it's about the songwriter, discipleship. It's discipleship. And so when we meet inside of the rooms to write together, the emphasis is not on trying to write, the next great song. It's writing to the audience of one out of the place of a common yes in the room, a yes to each other, a yes to what the Lord wants to do in that room, and discovering what that is, seeing what He's been doing in our lives. So I feel like, it's like I just read this morning, you'll know a tree by its fruits, right? The fruit defines the tree. And it's been my experience with Stephen's ministry with the Worship Coalition that is the case, is get together to write songs from a very authentic, safe, humble place.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you, Daniel. That's an honor to hear. And, that's definitely what we're talking about behind the scenes. We don't come in going, hey, today we're talking about discipleship. We just come in going, hey, it's going to be a great day. And he talked about a unified yes. And one of the ways that we get there is we do an exercise called Banish the Lie. And we go, what lie do you believe personally? What lie does the community believe? And then go into Scripture and find that eternal truth that banishes that lie from the community in your heart forever. And that helps us get to that unified yes. But one of the things that he mentioned so eloquently was that we're not looking to just put out a song that helps the church move forward right now, but it's also something that is established and through discipleship generations deep. Because our mission statement is to, raise up an army of worshipers to shake and change nations and governments. So we're literally talking about nation-shaking things, not just what feels good or sounds good to sing today. We're talking about like, say the hard things, grapple with the truth, and let God reveal Himself in that to you in the middle of the room, so that you have a new song to sing, a new testimony that's coming fresh out of the room. And to me, it's always a miracle when we walk away from these things, knowing that these songs are written in 3 hours with 3 or 4 people in a room that are strangers, and most of them have never written a song before. The secret sauce, I think, is just the passion in being unashamed and following Christ and doing what he wants rather than doing what emotionally feels good at the time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's good.
So yeah. You know, Ryan, from your perspective, I'd love to hear just, you know, direction moving forward for 406 United, for the Worship Coalition, for any songwriter and any worship leader that's watching. No pressure.
That's all right.
What is the church? What do you feel like God's speaking to you? What does the church need right now that we're not getting?
Huh. Oh boy, putting on the spot. Well, I'm just gonna kind of shoot from the hip. I was actually just chatting. I was texting with George. George runs CCLI. We were having a little chat this morning as I was texting, just about kind of like songs, the nature of the church. What's like today? He was saying this is kind of what I'm sensing, and it's interesting. You know, one thing he was really sensing is people are really tapping into some of the older songs, which I just wonder what that says about the church. We've just kind of gone through 2 years of like a ravaging and a, you know, a pulling apart and an isolation and all of that. And there's something sort of like connecting with the timelessness of worship that I think I'm finding that people don't just want like another super rock song, you know, that's super cool, or like they want to feel connected to the people beside them that they're worshiping. And some of the songs even that you guys are writing feel very accessible, kind of got a bit of that timelessness sense to it. So yeah, that's just a thought that's kind of coming to mind, is don't try and impress us too much, you know. Lead us in an authentic expression of timeless worship, and don't forget that the church isn't even afraid to go back into what, like Chris Tomlin, I think on Friday is releasing "Oh Lord, You're Beautiful." It's a stunning version of a classic song from Keith Green, and it's a bit of a sign of like, you know, sometimes people just want to dip into that old reservoir and just harvest out a beautiful expression. So that's another thing that's you know, it's part of the community of worship that's coming out in these weeks. It's exciting.
That's awesome.
That's a thought that I have. Yeah.
That's beautiful. One more question, and then you can jump off and go back to your cornhole tournament.
Yeah.
What you know, what songs are or worship movements are moving you? What's on your Spotify playlist? Like when you're not, I know you can't really separate PraiseCharts hat from yourself because you're just genuine across the board. You don't wear different hats. You're just Ryan. And you're just awesome in that way. But like, what songs are actually moving your family, healing your family, and giving you joy and hope these days?
Well, I will say, you were asking like what songs are on my playlist, and say a person that I'm feeling drawn to right now, and I feel like it's almost like if there was a wave and he's kind of catching this wave, is Cody Carnes. He just went through recording, I think, 20 songs. I still wanted to go just drive to Nashville or fly there and go and be at the church and soak that all in. I've seen a couple of the videos. We're working closely with their team to get all that music on PraiseCharts, of course, but I still go back to, you know, songs like Christ Be Magnified and things like that I'm just like, oh, this is so great. And then I kind of like watching Cody also. He's got a little Instagram thing of him and Carrie at the baseball game or doing something with his kids. And it just reminds me that he's just a guy. Like, he's just a dad. He's just a husband, just trying to do life. And then I feel like connected in some way to the spirit of that, similar to how I feel with you, but with both you guys, you know, and just, we're drawn to that kind of authentic expression. So that's a voice, and it's kind of neat to see that Cody can go to the heights of a, you know, an elevation stage, to like the randomness of Maverick City, going on for 19 minutes or 12 minutes or whatever. And then he could also just play acoustic guitar. He's kind of able to cover so many bases.
Yeah.
And I'm quite attracted to the diversity of like skill and heart that's applied there. So that's a person. I know we're supposed to be talking about Worship Coalition here, but hey, you
awesome.
asked, and that's someone that I'm attracted to in that way. And I don't even know him, So Cody, if you're watching, shout out for you.
That's fantastic. All right, I
Yeah.
might have said one more question that
That's
I'd
all
love
right.
to ask you, and that's this: how can we support PraiseCharts from our individual churches, and in our songwriting, whatever? How do we support you?
Well, I don't know. I think it's more about how I'm supporting you, because of course you can support me by coming to Get Charts and just be a part of the flow of new music flowing from the writers to our arrangers, and then trying to get them to the churches. But you can be encouraged in as much as PraiseCharts reflects the heart of the church. Here we are, sort of post COVID, or kind of on the tail end of it, but we're super encouraged. We're on an upswing. We're charting new territory. My programmers are dreaming about new things. My songwriters, I was talking to my orchestrator arranger today, and he's just so excited to be a part of the team. And there's so much new music coming down the pike from great places. Like I was saying, Tomlin has a new album, Cody Carnes, and then, people like you. We love the opportunity also, like you had said before, Stephen, that to fan the flame of like both the independents and some of the bigger, more well-known names. I mean, it's all the same to me. And we've seen songs go to the top from both sides. It could be Elevation right next to some indie guy. And there is actually a song that was trending, like top 5. It was from someone in the Getty network. And I was like, are you serious? The number 1 song was some Elevation super band hit, and then number 2 was like this acoustic guitar, Santa Kraken or something. It was, I can't remember the name, but anyways, it's just so diverse and so almost random that it's like, this just has to be the authentic expression of, just a diverse church. So we're trying to reflect that. And you're right, Stephen. We don't have our dibs into any band, any artist. No one's paying us to put them on, page 1. It's all these lists that we have are all just the natural activity of what churches are doing. So, anyways, that's kind of the heart of what we're doing at PraiseCharts, and it's a great season. Lots of good, fresh momentum happening.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much. We want to honor you.
Yeah,
thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
Everything.
Yeah,
everybody at
so
PraiseCharts. We know that it's not just you, but there's an army of people behind you that
definitely
have a heart for the church and have unique giftings in that. So we thank all of PraiseCharts for supporting 406 and the Worship Coalition. And please go out and kick some butt in Cornhole.
And I'm looking forward to coming to one of your songwriting conferences and hanging out with you guys. So that's going to be great. So we'll look forward to that.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your time, Ryan.
All. Thank you. Okay. Bye then. Bye.
All right, Daniel, as we're wrapping up, final thoughts. I mean, this is album release day tomorrow at midnight. The whole album goes out. This is incredible. Final thoughts on this journey up to this point so far, because it's not the end of this album, but this is the beginning, seeds that were planted that now we're starting to see harvest from. But when you see a harvest, you actually see even more seeds come from the fresh fruit, right?
Yeah.
And so dreaming big, what does this represent for you? What does this represent for 406 United?
The biggest takeaway I have from this whole last 2 years of this project coming to fruition and everything that's gone into it, I just want to encourage every songwriter out there and every worship leader out there, that if you've ever heard the expression, if you want to go fast, go it alone, go by yourself, right? If you want to go far, go together. And that has never been more true to me than through this process. So that's one thing. And the second thing is related to that is just simply to dream Jesus's dream for the church, that we would be one, and that you will have a greater impact in your city if there are multiple churches doing stuff together, right? So to plant that seed that, hey, you can do this too in your city, and if this is all the permission or the modeling that you need, like there's not much more out there for you to see. Like, just go do it. And the way, like the most practical way that happens in my book, besides having a heart for it and praying for it, is to get out there and network. Like, go meet other worship leaders in your church, host a worship luncheon, put on a local like Writers in the Round night at a coffee shop. Whatever it looks like, you come up with a lot more ideas than I just did, but to just start making the practical steps to make relationships, because what doesn't work is to just get on the phone one day, call 20 churches, and then feel defeated why none of them are saying yes to your event.
Right.
You have to lay the groundwork of relationships first. And I wasn't the only one here. There's a lot of people part of 406 United who already had relationship and had been working those relationships for the last decade. And that led up to that moment. The catalytic moment was when we just were like, hey, I think the time's right. Let's ask Stephen and the worship co to come do this. And enough anchor churches, if you will, said yes. And here we are.
And now there are more anchor churches. Now there are more people saying yes. And we talk a lot about giving people permission, right? It's not that we give them permission. It's that God has already given them permission, and we help them get out of their own way to say yes. And in that, sometimes it takes modeling it and showing that there's fruit that comes from it before somebody will say yes. We said that to the people out in New Hampshire a couple of weeks ago. We said, hey, for everybody that's here, there's so many more people that are waiting to be invited into this. And so even though there might be small beginnings, which there haven't, if this is small beginnings with 406 United, this is going to be a wild ride for sure. But, for that person that is sitting there going, hey, I've tried to do nights of worship for my city and nobody will join us, or we try to do local fairs where we're a whole afternoon of worship bands, and just nobody's joining us, right? For that person, I see you, we see you, we've been there, we've done that, we've tried to do events, but there's something beautiful about having a cup of coffee and praying over someone that starts on a different trajectory, a different path. And it's through that relationship that, seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. The unity, the songs, the nights of worship, podcasts, whatever you're dreaming of and God's putting on your heart, comes secondary to seeking first the kingdom. And kingdom building is about discipleship and walking with others to the throne. And that's something that I encourage that person out there. I was 18 years old trying to do nights of worship in my hometown of Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and I had 10 churches that all pulled out at the last second, and it almost crushed me. But instead, I heard God say, "They're not ready yet, but you are," and that has taken me on a 14-year journey to get to this point where now we've got strategy, we've got relationships, we've got people. And now we're just starting to see the first fruits of something that happened 14, 16 years ago. So keep going. That's my encouragement to everybody out there. Again, support PraiseCharts. My goodness, look at Ryan. Dude is on vacation at his vacation home, calling in the sun in Canada in the middle of a cornhole tournament, and he was like, you know what, I want to take 30 minutes to pour into this because I see value in what's happening in 406. I see what's value is happening in the Worship Coalition, and he sees a value in the independent songwriter and the worship leaders that follow that. Bex Incorporated says missing cornhole, and Devin is putting claps and hearts and all of that. Katie says, thank you, Ryan, for all you've done for 406. Absolutely. Thank you, everybody. If I missed a comment, ooh, Lord, you're beautiful. Your face is all I seek. Yes, absolutely. If I missed a comment, I'm sorry. I will go back and comment on those. But yeah, album drops tonight. If you have not pre-saved It's Your Goodness, pre-saved It's Your Goodness. If you haven't pre-saved the album, you can go through 406 United's Instagram and follow the links, or you can go through 406 United's Facebook page and follow the links. Again, please like and comment on both 406 United page on YouTube and our page. 406 United, I think, is very close, if not has passed 1,000 followers on
I don't even know. I have
on Spotify, and I believe y'all are getting close on YouTube. Please subscribe to both YouTube channels because I think we're getting close to 1,000, and you guys are getting close to 1,000. And I saw Jeremiah Jones just jumped on. Brother, in 2 days or less, I Want to Holy is going to hit 100,000 streams. Congratulations.
Nice.
And all the team that has been a part of this. Thank you to Kevin Weinbarger again for the brilliant production. Thank you to his whole team. Thank you to Sean James for these videos. They are also inspired and beautiful.
And Kevin Butler as well.
Kevin Butler,
to make that happen with all the volunteers.
It's insane. Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, Jeremiah, 97,000 streams so far. It'll post tomorrow, but it'll get to 98, I think, by the end of the night tonight. It's incredible. Yeah, thank you to the 406 United leadership. Y'all went through the trenches. I just want to honor you, Daniel Hartzheim, Katie Isley, Brandon Edwards, and Jeff Kiddo. The four of you have gone through the most challenging times and the highest highs together over the last 18 months. And we're here. And again, this is just the beginning. Excuse his name, Calvin. It's Kevin. Yep, Kevin Weinberger. And yes, Kevin was amazing. Sean was amazing. Thank you, Journey Church in Bozeman, for allowing us to take over your building multiple times a year to host this many people. Thanks to the original 7 to 9 churches that were involved in taking a chance on this and dreaming big with us. Encouragement to all the churches that are now involved. Keep going, but keep diving deeper. Like Ryan, and Daniel have said, it's really about going deep with God. It's not so much about a rock song as it is about shaking the next generation and shaking off anything that's not righteous, not holy, and bringing the best offering to God to bring him the highest glory. So keep going in that. Jeremiah says, calling him Calvin from now on. Yeah. Yes.
Meanwhile, Kevin is on Facebook Live commenting. So
is he? Or
is it YouTube? He's on YouTube.
He's on YouTube commenting. Okay. All right. Love you, Calvin.
That's funny.
Thanks, Bex Incorporated, for giving us a good time today.
I think it would be in order as well to thank David Runia for all of the graphics he did for social media, for the album artwork, way above the call of duty, and did it faithfully. So thank you. And thank you, Katie Isley, for all of your social media posting. I don't know if you have anyone else, Stephen, who's helped you, but it's been awesome.
On our side, thanks to our board of directors, Steve Rice has been an incredible wealth of knowledge. He started worship together. He started, he ran Integrity for a long time. Thank you to him. He's been an incredible mentor and friend of mine. Thank you to Val Davis, a personal friend and board of director who has not only housed our family for 2 months when we moved to Missouri, but also her and her husband and kids have been a huge encouragement to us and given us opportunities to worship when at youth conferences and things like that we never would have gotten on our own, and really stretched our faith. Thank you to my mom, who also sits on the board. Thank you. She supports us not only as a family, but she supports the mission, and she continues even in retirement to keep pushing this forward. Thank you to Scott Moore, who's up in Whitefish area in Montana, for not only helping run this event that turned into this, but for continuing to champion us to move forward into missions and going forward into Africa and the Philippines and all of that. He jumped on tonight. Thank you for him. And just anybody really who supports us financially, or through prayer, or through any other relationships building. Thank you for that, because we're a donations-based organization. We're called a nonprofit for a reason. We don't make a profit off of these events, and we're not making a profit off of any of this stuff. It all goes forward into the next community, the next community, the next community. So I would just ask that if any of this music has moved you, please consider donating to either 406 United or the Worship Coalition. Because again, this music, while it's going to go to support the songwriters, it's going to go to support logistics, but to really continue to move forward in a powerful way, and without always having to look over our shoulders of where the resources are going to come from. Please, please buy merch from both of the websites. You can see we're both wearing Worship Co hats, but Daniel and 406, they've got shirts, they've got some amazing cell phone cases and things like that. So buy merch, but talk to your church. See if you can have a missions budget, support the 406 people or the Worship Coalition, because we are missions organizations. Really, 406 is a mission to rock the state of Montana with worship. That's not your mission statement word for word. I'm just making that up. But their mission is to really unite the churches of Montana. And not only that, just unite the worshipers of Montana, give them a unified song to sing and shake the state. And for us, we're going to the nations with that. And so please support that financially if you can, and if you are so inclined. And stream the snot out of this, share it with your friends. If there's somebody that can be blessed by these songs, please share the videos, or please share the Spotify links with them, because while it's doing its work in Montana, it's also doing its work around the globe. The Philippines is the second largest listenership on Spotify for us. That's incredible. And we have, almost just as many people in the Philippines as we do in the United States listening to this. So please just share the love, share these songs, support a local songwriter, get them into coaching, get them connected somehow to one of these organizations, and let's just keep moving forward. Somebody asked the question, Daniel, and you can answer this from 406's, but when's the next album?
Oh, that's my sister, Maggie Rickert. Great question. We actually don't have an answer for that in terms of all we know is we have so many more great songs that have already been written. More are constantly being written. We're planning another retreat in January with the Worship Coalition. So there comes another 50 songs. So there's no shortage of amazing songs that are happening from our region. The biggest question mark is going to be finances to be able to do another album. And also we're going to be trying to get a little bit more creative on the timeline of releasing songs so that it doesn't have to be 18 months after, you know, we decide to do an album.
Yeah.
But maybe we can do things in short sprints, smaller upfront budget to say produce and release 3 songs. But I'm not promising anything right now because literally the 406 United leaders haven't even met to establish what a rhythm or budget would look like.
Yeah.
We just know that we all have the desire to do more.
Yeah.
And would really appreciate everyone's prayers for wisdom on how to do that well, as well as prayer for finances. And if anyone is able to support that locally, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
And on that note, I do want to thank all of our local financial givers. There were several, like churches as a whole, like the whole church board and, you know, from the pulpit got behind this project. And so super thank you to Christian City Church and to Calvary Chapel Church and the River Church and Shift Church and Journey and I forget how many more, my church, the Table. So lots of people have helped out, and I'm probably leaving some out. I hope not, but thank you guys, and we're looking to do more.
Acoustic live album would rock, Jeremiah Jones says. He doesn't have a dog in the fight, does he? No, just kidding. Doing more Jeremiah songs would be incredible. I would vote for that. But what I hear too, and what you're saying, is 2 things popped in my head, Daniel. One, if there was more funding that could come in just naturally, not have to go out and raise funds, but if it was just coming in naturally, you'd have a budget that you could look at and just go, hey, no brainer, let's do the next song, let's go. So if you are blessed, Kevin Weinberger is now texting me, if you were blessed by this record and you want to hear more, go donate to the 406 United. Go. That's the easiest way to hear more music. I know I'm talking to your sister right now, but hey, go support it. You know, go get your dad. Go get your dad to help out too. Anybody in the Hard Time family. But that's one way. The other way too is like report these songs to CCLI. Buy these songs on multitracks.com. Because all profit of the record and the recordings go to 406 United. And so when you interact with these songs and you stream these songs, you are giving the opportunity to hear more songs. So I would say give, and I would say, you know, share and spread the love for these songs so that we, you know, we can do more of these. For us, the answer is right now we're raising funds on the worshipcoalition.org website for the New Hampshire event that we just had. We just did 3-day intensive up there. Daniel was a part of it, and many other people were a part of it. Jeremiah and Kevin, Matt Stinton from Bethel Church, and gosh, formerly Bethel Church, yes, and some amazing other people like Sophie Lockhart and Heather Pillsbury and Mindy Espinosa all flew out to be a part of this. And so we are currently about 12% in to raising funds for an album with them. And I would love to have even 406 people support, you know, people from Montana, pay it forward, right? And people from all over. If you want to keep hearing authentic worship, deep revelations of God, and songs that unify regions and pockets of people, if you believe in that mission, then donate at theworshipcoalition.org, because there's a fundraising album right now for New Hampshire. We've got some incredible songs. We wrote another 30 or 40, and we're going to be, you know, recording another 5, 6, 7 to 10 songs starting, you know, at the beginning of next year. And so we're raising funds for that right now so that we can keep going in that too.
And is that what Bex Incorporated is talking about when she says who?
Yes, she goes, yeah.
Talking about support the band.
I think she's saying woo. I think she's saying woo.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
I thought maybe the New England crew already came up with an acronym for their region, but
yeah,
that's actually an expression. Got it.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing that. We've introduced 3 of them to our church, and they love them. Absolutely. These songs are already flying around New Hampshire, too. So, I mean, the goal is long-term, and I'll leave it with this, but, like, long-term, the 406s and the New Hampshire crew, they support each other and do each other's songs. So now, while 406 Montana is united, and all of New England is united through their own songwriting, and through God bringing them together through these songs, right? Then God starts to unite our nation in worship, because 406 is singing New Hampshire songs and New Hampshire is singing 406 songs, right? And then in year 20, at the end of next year or early 2024, we're hoping to go to Uganda and the Philippines and continue this process in other countries as well. And so that we can start to unite other nations, and we can now start to unite the global church. It's a big vision, and it needs big support. And so if your family or somebody you know loves to support big vision and can get on board and sees it for what it is, let's go. Have them call me, connect with me, email me, or connect with 406 United and stand behind them and back them, and message Daniel too. So stoked for tonight. Album drops tonight. Let's go stream it like crazy this weekend. And really thank you for everybody for streaming this and giving this a chance, because I know it's there's a lot of music that's released every day, but to choose to listen to this and support us is an honor, and we hope that this multiplies the fruits of the Spirit in your family and your life, and looking forward to all the testimonies. That's the other thing I was going to say. If you have a testimony from one of these songs, if one of these songs is starting to rock somebody you know, if you're having encounters with God through these songs, please message us, or just like comment on Facebook, or record a video on Instagram and tag us in it. Please, seriously, I think that's another way that you can support us, because it's through those testimonies that we can then go to other people and go, this is working, right? We, in my family, personally, in my family, my father-in-law, we're here to celebrate his life tomorrow. And in the last couple of weeks, he was streaming "Oh My Perfect Love" and "Be Still" and "I Love You," and it's bringing healing and restoration to my extended family. And my sister-in-law is posting the lyrics on Facebook, and it's encouraging other people. That's huge. We heard from Megan Stoltzfus on Facebook. She sang "Table of His Love." She led that song on this album. We saw that she encountered Jesus in the room when we were recording these songs, and that's huge. And we're getting similar stories from all over the world coming in. And we're even hearing from people who have written some of the songs that we grew up singing, like Holland Davis out in California, saying that he feels the authenticity and the anointing of this movement. And so it's speaking to lots of people and drawing a lot of people closer to Jesus. When you tell us your testimony, it allows us, it gives us the encouragement to keep moving forward. It adds to our faith, and it also gives us the ability to go out and tell God's story to more people, and through that allows us to keep going, right? And we have more opportunities through that. Now we've been at this for an hour, so we'll let it go. Thanks for everybody who stuck around for us through this whole time. Mag said, keep the songs coming. Bex Incorporated said we've introduced 3 of them. Oh, yep, we got that. She said, "Oh, My Perfect Love is the one for me." Tears were drawn. Thank you so much. That's an honor. Thanks, Bex. All right. Well, Daniel, any last parting words?
I think I'll just close us out with a prayer.
Yeah.
And encourage you guys to go listen to these again on YouTube and Spotify. Thank you, Lord Jesus. You paid it all. It's amazing that 2,000 years after your death and resurrection, that here we are still writing songs about what you're still doing in the earth. We thank you that you write a new song on our hearts. We thank you that you're just always doing, you're always doing, and it's always good, and it's always perfect, and it doesn't always feel perfect to us, but we know that you have a perfect love for us. And so, Lord, I pray for each and every region where people have watched these live streams and listened to these songs and have a longing to do something similar in their city, in their region. We just ask, Lord, that you would make it happen, that you would lead them, lead your people to coalesce around your name and for your glory, not our own. We just thank you for this, and we love you, Lord. Go Team Jesus around the world. Amen.
Amen. Awesome. Thanks so much, Daniel. Have a good night. For those of you who want to jump on next, this upcoming Wednesday at 11:30 Central Time, I'm going live with, actually, PraiseCharts is going live, and I get to join PraiseCharts to talk about this album next week on PraiseCharts Instagram Live during the middle of the day. So if you got time over your lunch hour to jump on and say hey and comment your experience with these songs, please do, because it's going to be the opposite. I'm going to host a cornhole tournament, and Ryan is going to be interviewing us.
Is that afternoon?
That's 11:30 Central AM.
Okay.
Yep. Awesome. On Wednesday the 24th. Awesome. Love you guys. Thank you so much for sticking around with us for an hour. And love you, Daniel.
Yeah, you too, man.
All right. Have a good night.
Yeah.